Guilty all the way down to all.
I came face to face with Paul Bernardo. You will not believe how this guy is living. So for those who don't know, especially for younger people in Canada, Paul Bernardo is the worst of the worst. He was known as the Scarborough Rapist. He did unspeakable sex offenses against numerous women. Ultimately, him and his wife were responsible for 3 young women being killed. One of them was his own sister-in-law. Bernardo was eventually convicted for murder. He's serving multiple life sentences. He was also designated as a dangerous offender, which is the highest designation any criminal can receive in Canada. I'm a former Crown prosecutor, so I've seen a lot of evil in this world, but I can safely say this guy is the worst of the worst. We do not believe he can ever be rehabilitated because his offenses were so bad. Mid-2023, Paul Bernardo had been in maximum security where he belonged for about 20 years. But in the dead of night, in the cloak of secrecy, he was transferred to medium security.
On Friday, news broke that the serial rapist and killer had already been transferred from this Ontario maximum security prison to a medium security one in Quebec.
I've been in a lot of jails as a former parole officer, but I wanted to see for myself. I wanted to see what medium security was really like. So I went to the jail, La Macasa, where Paul Bernardo is incarcerated. I walked in, and the first thing you notice is how big of a property it is. It actually feels like a university campus. If you go to maximum security, it's really confined. There are doors everywhere in maximum security. You go to medium security, it's not really all that confined. It feels like university. It's like you're walking from building to building, just like you're walking from class to class. So my tour begins, and the first place they take me is to Paul Bernardo's unit. And for those who don't know, a unit is essentially a bunch of jail cells. So that's where he lives. We go straight to his cell, and they open the door. He's not there. You could see that he wasn't there, so I asked permission, and I take a step in. And it was really weird. Their margarine containers were drying on the top of his bunk. I'm not sure why. He had these mint chocolate bars off to the side. He had a electric razor. I asked whether he paid for that himself. He did. You could see all these things, and it looked like somebody very ordinary lived in that jail cell, and yet he's a monster. Had to keep on reminding myself that this person did unspeakable things. So I was in there for a couple of minutes. I turn around, and it was unmistakable. It was Paul Bernardo. His hair was still the color that I remember it as being in the photos, but the face was unmistakable. It was him. But just seeing him coming eye to eye with him, I had a physical reaction. Even just talking about this brings back memories. I've dealt with a lot of dangerous people, but I've never looked into the eyes of a serial killer like him. I was struck by his demeanor. He just walked up. What was happening? He wanted to kind of know. He knew I didn't belong, and he was seemingly asking about that. And he said, in French, he said, "Is everything good?" One of the things I noticed, he was taller than I expected, but he was well fed. He's well nourished. I mean, this isn't a guy who looks like he's missing a lot of meals. Gone were the skinny images that we'd grown up with in the 90s. This was somebody that looked different. So let's take this back a second. He is a serial murderer, a serial rapist, a dangerous offender. And that's when I started to get angry, because I walked outside and I had a look and I said, "What's that? Looks like a hockey rink." It was. Inmates can go and they can get skates and they can play hockey. There are hockey nets and everything. If you want to play in the evening, there are halogen lights. It looked just like an outdoor basketball court at a community center or at your local baseball stadium. So that's not bad enough. The hockey rink, well lit, actually turns into a tennis court. If that wasn't enough for me to get outraged, while we were walking there, one of the guards commented that Luca Magnotta walked right by me.
Murder and dismemberment of his victim, Chinese student Jun Lin.
He's also alleged to have eaten parts of his victim. Prosecutors say Magnotta killed Jun Lin, then recorded himself having corpse.
So him and Paul Bernardo could actually be playing tennis one-on-one in the summertime. If I wasn't pissed off enough seeing the hockey rink and the tennis court, there was more. The cherry on top was seeing this beautiful gymnasium, and next to that is a weight room, much nicer than I'd say 95% of Canadians have access to. He has a billiards table where he can play pool, and then you walk a little ways, and what do you find? You find a workshop where he can sign out tools, chisels, scissors, hammers, duct tape, one of the worst criminals in Canadian history, is actually living better than most Canadians. It's almost like a scene from Goodfellas, but this isn't fiction. He's actually living like this. I once had an inmate when I was walking through a different jail say, all in all, not a bad place to do time. That's how he's probably feeling. I'm not saying that we treat people inhumanely. We're a country of human rights. We're a country where the rule of law prevails, but you don't have a human right to a tennis court. You don't have a human right to a pool table, and you don't have a human right to play pickup hockey when you please. And most of all, one of the worst criminals in Canadian history does not and should not have the right to these things. It shouldn't take an MP having to go into a jail to tell you this. People in the government, they may not want you to know the truth of how animals like Paul Bernardo are living, people who should be in maximum security. And yet, here he is in medium security, living better than most Canadians. I shouldn't even be making this video. Why did it take an MP going into the jail to see what medium security was like for Paul Bernardo? He should have never been transferred out of maximum to begin with. This is just part of the bigger problem of the mess that's become the liberal justice system. We have repeat dangerous offenders who are routinely released on bail. We have sexual offenders who commit offenses against children getting house arrest as sentencing. And now we have the government unable to even manage serial killers in maximum security. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, they don't take criminal justice seriously. We can't forget the victims and all they've gone through and all they continue to go through. But we have to tell the truth on how one of Canada's worst serial killers is living better than most Canadians. After coming face to face with Paul Bernardo, we've done some more digging, and I can tell you there's more to tell. Canadians need to know the truth. Please like and share this video because there's more to come. And as always, thanks for watching.